Is it time for you to rethink your career? My name is Anna Lundberg. I'm the founder of One Step Outside, author of Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5 and host of the Reimagining Success podcast. And people often ask me, what was it that triggered you? Why did you quit your job back in 2013? And the truth is there was no dramatic turning point. There was no big trigger. I didn't burn out. I didn't hate my job. It wasn't even that I got a promotion. There was no one event. There was nothing personally or professionally that necessarily pushed me over the edge that got me to that tipping point when I needed to quit my job, which may be the case for some of you. For me, it was a much more gradual process of feeling like I had learnt what I could learn within that organisation, of feeling a bit of a disconnect between what it was I thought I wanted to do and what I was actually doing. This desire to do something else, to work for myself, to travel more, to write. And so what might be the signs that it's time for you to rethink your career? Now, this is very personal. And I'd love for you to listen to the full podcast episode because I'm going to be going through 7 signs that it is time for you to rethink your career. So do check that out. It's over on the Reimagining Success podcast. You can search Reimagining Success on your favourite podcast app and I'll put the link below to the website as well. You can also get the resource. So I've written up, if you prefer to read these things rather than listen, I've written up the 7 signs in a resource you can pick up over on my freebies page, onestepoutside.com/freebies. onestepoutside.com/freebies. But to give you a bit of a sneak preview, some of the reasons might be that, like me, you feel like you're stagnating a little bit. You aren't learning and growing as much. You perhaps are feeling a bit sort of cynical. You've been there too long. You know how things work. It's in your comfort zone. You're in your groove, but not in a good way. So that you're feeling a bit stuck. You're fed up a little bit. You've done it all. It's just the same old stuff. You could do it in your sleep. That's, maybe a sign that you want to mix things up a little bit. Something else which I think is important to highlight, and it's a very difficult situation, it's the hardest thing I think, is when everything is fine. So things aren't terrible, you haven't crashed and burned, there hasn't been a family tragedy, you haven't been made redundant, you just aren't really in a particularly good place, nothing's terrible, nothing's great. That is the hardest scenario, I think, for you to kick yourself up the backside and push yourself over the cliff to take that leap, I think. I think a lot of us, ironically, wish for redundancy, and it's terrible to say that now because if you have faced redundancy, I'm sure you wouldn't wish that on anybody, and it's pretty naive of us to wish for that. But I think, ironically, people tell me, I wish somebody else would make this decision for me. I wish I'd be forced into taking this decision. And while that isn't actually a good situation necessarily, and if we are forced into it, we can definitely make the most of it, it's a strange one that we prefer to let someone else take control of our destiny, as it were. So again, it's very hard to push ourselves into that situations. So that's something to consider. If everything is just fine, what can you do either to mix things up, to make things a little bit less comfortable for yourself perhaps in this scenario, or to take little steps to try something new, just to wake yourself up a bit and see what might be on the other side. So if you've stopped learning and growing, if you feel that everything is fine, but of course also if you really are counting the minutes until the end of the day, counting the days until the weekend, counting the weeks until your holiday, that's not a great place to be in. There are some people who are happy to just tick the box and have a job and work is supposed to be work, and then they live their life outside of that environment. If you, like me, if you share my belief that actually we want our work to be fulfilling, we want to be making a meaningful difference, to have an impact, to be doing something that's intellectually stimulating, exciting and enjoyable, then again, that's the moment when you might want to reconsider and really rethink what that looks like for you. Now, those are just a few of the examples. There are many more. And again, you can pick up the 7 signs at onestepoutside.com/freebies. Pick up a few of my other resources there as well. However, this is not to say that you have to now, if you tick one or all of these boxes, hand in your resignation, throw yourself over that cliff, take the massive leap. This is just something to perhaps wake you up a little bit, a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of a trigger, a bit of an encouragement, a suggestion for you to begin to explore, to begin to consider what else you might want to do and what that could look like. And as I always say, focus on the what of what you want, why it's important, and then we can figure out the why. So give yourself some time. Okay, yeah, I recognize myself in some of these signs. I do want to make a change, and absolutely take action, because we want to get that momentum going, get you moving, but don't feel the pressure to take a massive, dramatic, transformational leap right away. We can take those little steps, research something, speak to somebody, begin to reflect on what you might want to do instead. So hopefully that is a bit of a wake-up call for you. But again, check out onestepoutside.com/freebies to get those 7 signs, or you can listen to the podcast over on Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. You can find that on your favourite podcast app or on the website reimaginingsuccesspodcast.com, and I'll put the link below as well. See you next week. Bye for now.